Here we are then with song number 2 from Appetite for Destruction, It's So Easy, written by Guns N' Roses and one of the earlier kind of iterations of the band, West Arkeen. It's such a cool track, and actually this one really benefits from just somebody sitting there and breaking it down for you, which is what I'm going to do throughout this series of lessons, just to make it a little bit easier, because this is one of the more overlooked tracks from Appetite for Destruction, if we're going to be completely honest. I mean, you're competing with, you know, Sweet Child of Mine, Paradise City, Night Train, for example. This one tends to get a bit lost in the mix, but there's a lot that we can learn from this, particularly how to play some of the fast bits. Some of the awkward solo lines are quite cool once you've kind of learnt how to master them. So we're going to tackle that. I hope you enjoy this t-shirt as well, which I managed to get hold of. Although I ordered another one, an official Guns N' Roses t-shirt, but it still hasn't arrived, so we're going to have to make do with this one, but I think it's pretty cool. So we're going to kick in with the intro, which begins with a bit of Duff McKagan rocking the bass. Well, you don't start off with a bass line that often in life, but we're going to do it today. So this one begins up here on the 11th and 12th frets, so that's the kind of general vibe here. We're in E flat tuning, by the way, so tuned down to semitone. And before Slash really kicks in, this is the Duff bass intro. So use your first and second finger, I think, probably for ease, and just practice going. So using hammer-ons and all down picks. And the thing to do is to master the rhythm. So I've written it out for you, and it goes exactly like this. So quite awkward, really. It's 2 2 3 3 2 2 2. That's the pattern. So 2, another 2, then there's 3, then there's 3, then there's 2, 2, and then 2 again. That's how you rock the intro there, which is not really a guitar line, so if you can't do that, don't worry, give yourself a break. Slash's intro is quite hard. I thought it was going like this. And I was getting really messy, and I realised watching a few live videos that the essential vibe of the intro riff is an offbeat up pick, so it's... Now, on the record and live, sometimes Slash does it in the root position, but using a doubled first finger. But other times when he plays it live, he does it up here on the 7th fret. So what I'd recommend is for the first 2 bars, doing it down here as I've written out in text. So 8 of those, and then switch up here. And then you've got these power chords coming. And then I'm going to go into verse 1, which we're going to carry on with in this video, because verse 1 really is where the song begins properly, and there's a little bit of unusualness to it, so I'm just going to play it for you quickly. So it's a little bit tough in that you're using probably what I would call an unusual fingering pattern that you wouldn't expect to be using. So it's the 1st and 3rd finger down here on this B flat. I would be tempted to do a first and fourth finger. But the reason that you don't, and the reason that Slash doesn't, is because it's actually harder to play it like that. If you play it with the first and third finger, and then you change to his arrangement of the G chord, it's easier than if you do first and fourth finger. So I totally get why he does it. So let's do it in his style. First and third finger on the first and third fret. That's an open string on the up pick, so. And then you're doing this chord. Forget the first finger, by the way, here on the second string. You're going to mute with your big fat second finger here. Because it sounds less messy than if you do play that note. It gets a little bit fuzzy, whereas if you get rid of it, a little bit clearer. So once again. And when you're doing that E power chord here, well, full chord, I should really say E minor, open second and third finger. Because that's what Slash does, because then you can just slide up. It's a nice little change over there. So let's run it through. And this is hard. And then you're coming around again. Once you practice it a few times, you find it's not too bad. The actual hardest bit is going from the E back to the B flat. If you're not used to being that low and spreading your fingers out so far. And just worth mentioning the picking pattern on the right hand here. So it's down, down, up. Down, up, down, down. And you can hit the top of that chord a bit more with the up pick. And then up on this open strings. So that's down, up, down. And then down, up. Back we go. Also, it's worth saying that the right hand can start to palm mute and to get involved and to make it a little bit more under control throughout the whole process. So I'm going to start adding in some palm muting now, just so you can hear the crunch that's coming. So this is two separate guitar lines, and unusually Slash is taking a back seat here. So this isn't really Slash's moment to shine, although there is some cool power chord chugging going along. So it's first and fourth fingers here with Slash's part, which we'll run through for the chorus. All down picks. Until you get to those diminished chords here. So again. So the trick to this one is to keep your left hand very light, very kind of loose in the pressing down stakes here. So just move it 5th, 3rd, 5th, 6th fret. So that's the shape, first and fourth finger. And then Slash comes down for this E power chord and just finds time also to play the 2nd fret before moving up here with this diminished. And then the fingering for this diminished, by the way, is 1st, 2nd and 4th finger. So you've got a power chord shape anyway, but it's an octave. That 2nd finger in the middle on the 8th fret. And those are up picks, so. And then back again. The second time round though, the bottom E is played twice. So like that. Also make sure you add in a little bit of palm muting just to keep it nice and crunchy. I think that's the key to this whole track really. Let's go to Izzy's part now. This is repeated 4 times. It's actually quite a lot easier to play than Slash's line. It's parallel fourths. It starts at bar 17 as I've written in the tab there, and it just goes over the top of what Slash is playing. So the way to achieve that is 3rd finger barred, all down picks by the way, 3rd fret with the 1st finger, and then this is a pull-off situation. So all left hand once you've done the 1st pick. And also it's worth saying that on some of the repeats it just kind of sounds really messy, but that's I think the intention. It sort of sounds like I don't really care. So you're going to play it like that, but just I would never normally say this, but be really not that precise with your left hand and you'll achieve an effect that you can hear on the record, which is like this. Sounds pretty good to me, and that's kind of got the same levels of crunch and ringing that happen in the album. We'll just carry on with verse 2 here because there's really nothing that's different before we get to the chorus as well. So we'll just stick with it here just to run it through. But if you missed it, check the first part of this lesson series where you'll be able to catch that. But we'll run through again. So we're going same pattern as the first time round in verse 1. And again, if you want it to sound a bit more contained than that, a little bit more like what it sounds like on the album, put some palm muting in. Try and be a bit more precise than I was about this B flat chord as well. It's one of those situations where it's actually easier to play it standing up because you can kind of when you're standing up it's a bit easier to get your hand around the neck, I find. But anyway, that should work out for you. And then we're going back to chorus 2 here. Again, nothing's really different in chorus 2, so it's just what we've kind of been learning. The last time though it's different, you get just before we hit the bridge. So I would actually say, because you're coming down each time to the power chord with the 1st finger, at the beginning of that pattern, when you finish at the end, don't actually come down for this full E minor chord, because you haven't done it any other time. I'd finished that part of chorus number 2 like that. We're going to go on to the bridge where things mix up. I'll just give you a little flavour of the sound here. We're going to get our distortion off and put some chorus on actually. I'll show you the chorus settings that I use. And we're going to also hit the neck pickup here, and it's going to sound like this. It's going to sound a little bit like this. So the intro bit, like I've said, you've got chorus on, neck pickup here, and you've got the distortion off. Just to give you the chords, you've got so it's a D with the 1st inversion, which means the F sharp's in the bass. Then you've got a G, B minor, with a G in, and then an A with a G in, and it goes round and round a couple of times like that. The picking pattern is alternate, so it's just and these are the notes to play slowly. And make sure you use these fingers, by the way, so second finger to start with. And then slide up with the second and first finger, on those third and second frets, basically a G shape, because then it makes your B very easy because you're already there. So once again, slide, B, and then you just take your second finger and put it there, because then it comes back over. Really cool, that, and really nice, and it's worth learning the different finger choices actually make a huge difference, because the slide up makes that very easy, and then the B minor. Slash plays this with a second finger, and I was tempted to do a first finger there, but then it kind of, I don't know, maybe you could lean across with the second, but I think that on balance he's got the right choice. Because you can move on the open string. Like that. Then all of that goes off, so you put your chorus away, go back to the bridge, and you also put your distortion back on. Now obviously when that's live, someone else is doing it for Slash. You never see him press a million pedals, but if it's you, you're going to have to find some time to do that there. This next line is a lot faster. The way to do this is just get your pick speed up, and then it's first and third finger, 6th and 7th frets here on the A. And also it's a hammer on. And don't worry if you're a little bit messy, because Slash is very, very messy on this one. This track's kind of characterised by sort of aggressive, not entirely clean sounds, quite a lot of messiness intentionally in there. You end your last one with some vibrato. You come down, slide down from the 12th, and then you're into a kind of variation of your main riff in a way, because it's power chords. So how this works here is power chords on the 5th and 7th frets here on that D. Then you quickly go up to the 10th, 9th and 7th, so quick picks here. Then down to the bottom. That's the first finger barred across there. And you can move back up to that 7th fret whilst you're playing the B and the E string open, so. Something along those lines. I would keep it a bit cleaner than that though, so. And that leads you into solo 1. You can, I mean, if you were struggling with the variation of going up there, it's actually the same riff, so you could just play it this way 4 times. But just to let you know, in the record itself, it does alternate between the two, so you get. that's the kind of live variant that Slash plays, but I would stick, if you want it to sound like the album, stick with what I've written in the tab there. So it's a huge bend up on the 17th fret here on the B string, and it's a 1.5 fret bend, so you've got to do it slowly as well, so. And then there's a kind of interesting sort of, I would say like it sounds like a wrong note, but it's obviously not, it's done for effect. You get this kind of, and what you're doing is you're grabbing the 17th fret below the one you're bending, and it kind of makes what I would describe as a horrible noise. But when you do it quickly, it sounds really effective, and it sounds quite sort of aggressive. Bit like that, so you want to really hit it hard on the G string there. This next pattern is quite standard. Use your 4th finger for this 15th fret here, so on the return down. So 3rd finger up. That's how the next bit goes. So 15th fret bend up. And then try and hit this with the 2nd finger if you can. Because that makes this next bit really easy. Because it's 1st and 3rd finger. A little bit of sneaky fingering here with the 12th fret. So you've got to sort of use your 1st finger and move it really quickly. And then that bottom 14th fret there on the D string is the 2nd finger, which gives you space to put your 3rd finger on this one. And then you pre-bend. So it's a really cool solo here. Let's just run it through one more time because I want to make sure you really know what's going on. I'm really going to break it down. So the very beginning, let's just begin here. 17th fret, really slow bend a fret and a half, and make sure you use this 1st finger to mute the lower strings so you don't get horrible sound. And then another down pick, and then you do this grabbing of the lower string and hitting it really hard. And you get that kind of howling sound. Down to the 15th fret with the 3rd finger. 4th finger in there. And then, so 14th fret, bend up and down. And then pull off to release. Little bend up. And again, try and land on this one on the 2nd finger if you can. That's the way to do it. Then we're on verse 3, which is no different to how we've previously covered this, and chorus 3 as well, but I'll just run it through for you, seeing as we're here now. We might as well go through the whole song. If you've missed the verses or the chorus, check our previous videos out. They're all there. Chorus 3 comes next. Then we're back to the bridge, which again is quite similar to what we've had before. So we go to the neck pickup, put the chorus on and turn the distortion off. And this is the same again. There's only one slight change coming up here, which I'll just keep you across of, but this is the same pattern as before. In fact, having played that just then, I realised now why it's a 2nd finger, because on the 4th pattern, so you've got, you can actually just slide down and really don't have to move your hand a lot. Lovely little change actually. Well, it's nice to learn something myself. So there we go. Then you get rid of all of what we've just put on. So we're back to the bridge pickup. We're back to the distortion, and we get rid of that chorus. This is the thing that's different in the bridge here. You just get power chords like this. And just remember that G is not a power chord, it's this G with a fat finger muting the next string. And the A as well can be a bit fuller. Before we hit solo 2, which is the really difficult one. So the basic notes are but there's a few little sort of like messy sort of dead notes. I think there's a down pick, so you can add that in, and then there's this dead pick here before you hit. So I do that with a third finger with a dead pick before, and then you've got a dead pick again, and then a double fourth finger on the 15th, and then second and third fingers here. Bend both those strings up, those 14ths, and then you've got this lower line. So you slide up with the second finger to that 5th fret, and then you've got this slow, what I like to call a moo cow. So you go. So it's so the third finger on the 5th fret with a long bend, and then a third fret with your first finger, a bit of a pinch harmonic. Then you've got this, and then you've got 2 dead notes, and then first finger on that 5th, 2 more dead notes. So that's quite easy, really, in a sense. So that's leading you to bar 111. Now it gets quite fast here, all hammer-ons and pull-offs. Then you come up to this 12th fret here. And then you get up to the 17th fret here. Second finger. And then it goes on this 14th fret. And then you slide down here. Like that on the bottom frets. They're pretty tough. And then this is the last section, the outro, which we're just going to carry on here with now. This is a new riff. But of course it's never just straightforward with Guns N' Roses. So all down picks here. Second finger, slide, first finger. And then a power chord there. And Slash actually does this in the solo. It's just like a recorded over the top, but we're going to do that as our line here. And then again. And then as that note holds, you can go. And then again. So at that point, you jump up here. So that's a harmonic there. And then the 12th. Right at the bottom you get reverb and delay added in post. That's really the whole last shape, but don't forget these bits. Very cool, isn't it? And that is how to play Guns N' Roses from Appetite for Destruction. It's so easy. It's pretty tough, to be honest with you, but I hope you enjoyed that little series there. I really enjoyed learning it, actually. And just make sure, the one thing to keep in mind at all times is try and keep everything a little bit under control. That's kind of Slash's trick, is to just a little bit palm muting, a little bit of not playing it as aggressively as you might think. And you will be away. Thanks for watching this series. I hope you enjoyed this. We're going to do Night Train when we carry on in a few lessons' time. Do stay subscribed if you love a bit of Night Train. I cannot get enough of it, to be honest with you, and we'll see you very soon.